the Fade 5 Podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets, you jackwagons. Brad the Big Noise Evans here, joined by the good sir, Nathaniel Lundy. 'Tis indeed the Fade 5 Podcast on a hashtag Tequila Thursday. We are represented and presented by Suavecito Tequila. Go out and pick up a bottle right now at Total Wine and More. If your local liquor store doesn't have it, absolutely demand it. Pour it nice and eat tonight. I don't even put it on ice. I have it usually in my freezer, so it's served ice cold, and then it just hits the lips so wonderfully, so perfectly, and it just goes down the old chute with those vanilla notes, and it tastes oh so damn good. And Lundy, I'm planning to drink at least a half a bottle tonight, so I can get the heart rate up and get excited because we got a lot of West Coast basketball. For those of you in the Central and Eastern time zones, you're going to need an elixir to stay awake, so you might as well make it a Suavecito Tequila. All right, so let's think about this for a minute. I didn't even remotely think about what the hell we're going to talk about at the top of the pod. I will bring this up to get your 2 cents on it. Have you noticed from our friends at BetMGM the extraordinary line movement that has gone on in the Kansas City and Cincinnati game, and a lot of that stemming from Patrick Mahomes doing some light jogging at practice, just walking to a podium at the post-practice press conference uninhibitedly, walking in stride, not without a limp or a hitch at all. Kansas City, who were, living in a crazy mixed-up world and a dog-eat-dog world yesterday, are now favorites -1. Do you expect this to climb this line by kickoff, knowing that Mahomes may be close to, 75, 80, 90% overall?
My prediction is by kickoff, it will be Kansas City -2.5. I do not believe I don't believe the books are going to allow it to get to 3. I don't think they're going to allow that potential field goal hook, if you will. I think they're going to keep it underneath that number. I don't think it's going to move any further than that, in part because of how Cincinnati's playing. I think that no matter what, I've never seen body language analyzed as much as this. I think the last time it happened was like presidential debates, when they used to be like, well, you notice that he itched the right side of his nose there, which probably means he's lying. I mean, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of analysis, and frankly, it's paralysis by analysis, in my opinion. It's why, I've stayed away from anything associated with the line in that game. You asked me earlier this week if I had thoughts on an early lean. I said that I thought there'd been an overcorrection on the total and that I was all about the over on that one. I'm glad I grabbed it when I did. I frankly thought that it was going to take a pack of wild dogs, led obviously by Kirby the Gambler, to hold Patrick Mahomes off the field. So I don't find any of this surprising, but I didn't want to touch the spread in this game to begin with.
Yeah, like Kirby the Gambler, I'm not going to lift my leg on this OGP that I constructed this morning. I took Kansas City down, got them at plus odds, so plus 3.5. And then I match it together with the over on an alt total of 40.5. You put those together, and KC plus 3.5 and the over 40.5, it's plus 120 right now at BetMGM, and you might want to take advantage of that before this line continues to march northward, as Lundy said, and I believe him. I think it's going to be every bit of a -2.5. Hell, may even be -3, -3.5 by kickoff for the home Chiefs. With that in the background, let's get after it here on this hashtag Tequila Thursday with another College Hoops edition of the Fade 5.
Number 5.
All right, numero 5 on the list today. I'm going to go with an SGP, and they were going to be yesterday. If you listen to the pod, hit 2 out of the 3 on the Hump Day edition of the Fade 5. So we're going to go back to that well, and hopefully the waters are going to be equally replenishing to the bank account. So this SGP, give me the Sparty party. I know the cake's going to run dry tonight. Not against the visiting Iowa Hawkeyes. I will take them on the money line, Michigan State, and I'm going to take on a reduced game total, the over on that all total of 137.5. Yeah, let's get seduced by that juice, plus 110. Put this together at DraftKings. You look at Michigan State, a team that, they haven't played all that great here of late. I think they're regressing more toward the mean of where they were supposed to be, but they are still number one in the Big Ten in effective field goal percentage defense. Iowa, meanwhile, has been slumping in their own right. They have dropped 3 of their last 4 games, and as great of an offensive team that Iowa is, there with Chris Murray, they're a team that just refuses to defend. They are allergic to doing that, botting up, guarding guys. They play a spread the floor mentality. They play, in a fast pace and in transitions where they live. So Michigan State can slow this game down and just bludgeon them in the half court setting. I mean, Iowa is number 14 in the Big Ten in adjusted defensive efficiency. I think the Spartans are going to hold home court there at the Breslin Center. So I'm going to take them on the money line. And again, because of the faster paced nature of Iowa, they're going to force that brisk pace overall. I think this game is going to hit the over, but on a reduced total of 137.5. So again, State money line over 137.5 plus 110 at DraftKings. Lundy, fade or follow.
Big fan of this one because I like what you did with the total. You look at the matchups between these two; they consistently hit overs, and even if they've hit an under, like if you look at the matchup last season, they hit the under, but the total was at 154. That's where it sat. So you're given a massive cushion. And oh, by the way, at 154, they still scored 146. So look, I understand they're hitting the under a couple of times if you just look at straight up over unders, but sometimes you got to dive a little deeper into that and figure out where that over under was set. This 137, Brett, I think they're going to be in the 140s in the pacing. So you've given yourself plenty of buffer here. As long as we're not dealing with, guys throwing up bricks from the charity stripe, which has burned me a couple of times this week. You sons, make your damn free
Welcome
throws.
to basketball, baby.
All I need you to do, just make your damn free throws. I like this one because I like the Spartans on the money line to begin with, but I like what you did with the total to get this one up into plus odds. Solid start, my friend, to a hashtag Tequila Thursday.
Well, hopefully Hogard and company will get it done. Go Spartans!
Number 4.
All right, let's head out to the wild, wild west, and there's always a Hawaii game, and I love wagering on it. I do it all the time, and I never watch it because I'm honestly asleep. Because by the time this game tips, the eyelids are going to get a little heavy. I think I got to say Evans, Lundy, after I have ultimately consumed half a bottle of Suavecito tequila. But when I wake up tomorrow morning, I'm hoping that I'm going to see a winning ticket in the end on the under. The Rainbow Warriors hosting the Gauchos of UC Santa Barbara, and that total is at 128. Minus 110 at BetMGM. This has strangely been creeping up, and I really don't understand why. It opened at 127. I got it last night at 127.5 at BetMGM, and now you get it at 128. I say take advantage. Santa Barbara is at the under in 58.8% of their games this season. Hawaii, meanwhile, is at the under in 52.6% of their matchups. So slight advantage for both those teams there. On top of that, you look at the pace of play. The Gauchos, number 291, according to KenPom.com, and adjusted tempo. Hawaii, a little bit slower, or a little bit faster, I should say, 289. So right there in the same vicinity in adjusted tempo. UCSB, number 1 in adjusted offensive efficiency in the Big West. But the honors and effective field goal percentage defense in that conference go to Hawaii. So both play at a slow pace. Both absolutely bludgeon you defensively, and both, here it is, cherry on top of the sundae, 200 plus on the year, an effective field goal percentage offense. So scoring can be a chore. You tally it all up. This game has got high 50s, at most low 60s, written all over it. So fade or follow UCSB on the road in paradise against Hawaii on that under 128 minus 110 at BetMGM.
Do you think the players like the long flight to Hawaii? Like, I know it's kind of a gift to get to go to Hawaii, but do you think the players at the end of the day, like Brad, I always think about myself unless you get the exit row, like, I'm not super tall. I'm 6 foot, but it's not very comfortable to sit up against the person in front of you the entire time. I'm just wondering if these players, because these guys are, they're a lot taller than you and I.
Yeah, they're like 6'6", 6'7". There's a
Right.
lot of leg.
Like, do they have to buy like an entire row so that they can just turn sideways and put their feet out? Like, I worry about these guys. You get all cramped. Never mind. I think it's great to go to Hawaii. I just feel like I wonder whether these players actually enjoy it or not. If they're like, son of a bitch, I got to cram in like a sardine to this damn flight.
It's not that far of a flight from Los Angeles, where UCSB is surely flying out of to Honolulu. It's not that bad.
Brad, but it's not like it's not like me going from Denver to Vegas, which you basically, you blink and you're there,
Yeah,
I mean, come on. I just
like 4 hours, no biggie.
I digress. These two teams played twice last year. The total both times was exactly 127. I'll play the under.
Oh, all right. Long story short, under, and under again. Hawaii, UCSB. Somebody give me a damn Mai Tai.
Number 3.
All right, let's work at a little parlay play of the day here on this two-legger, and all I need are these teams to win straight up. Give me Arizona and a revenge game narrative against Wazoo in Pullman. And give me the Oregon Ducks at home hosting the who the hell knows what team is going to show up version of the Colorado Buffs. Both those teams scored the W -106, and I'll get quite into plus odds at DraftKings, but still low enough juice for me to be a buyer on that. Why do I like Arizona tonight? I can't believe I'm saying this. It's defense. The last couple of games, they're actually guarding people. They've only given up 0.834 points per possession in those back-to-back contests. One of them, a key victory at home against UCLA. Now, Arizona typically revs the engine. They play at a very fast pace, number 11 in the country, in adjusted tempo. And they're a team, too, offensively, perplexing at times. They can score at will in transition, but they have not shot the three especially well in conference play, right around 35%. However, they share the sugar quite well as a team. Number 5 in the country on the year in assisted field goals made, and they're shooting 57% inside the arc in Pac-12 action. You look at Washington State, a team that is the antithesis of Arizona in terms of pace. Number 339 at Ken Palm at adjusted tempo. Remember, they beat AZ 74-61, impossibly in Tucson, and that's where that revenge game narrative comes into play. And they are highly reliant on the three ball. 42.5% of Washington State shots come from distance. So they're a team that, has to really chuck it, and those have to fall through the cylinder for them to be remotely competitive. If the Arizona team that we saw the last couple of games defensively shows up in Pullman tonight, they're not only going to win, they're going to win convincingly there. And then meanwhile, the Oregon Ducks, you look at CU, they've lost 3 of their last 4 games. Oregon really attacks the 10, especially at home. They're shooting 56.1% inside the arc. They're in games held in Eugene. And again, revenge on their mind. Remember, they lost 68-41. They got their asses handed to them on 1-5 against the Colorado Buffaloes. So I think they're going to try to get their vengeance tonight. So I guess it's a revenge game, 2-leg money line parlay. Arizona exacting their revenge against Washington State, and Oregon getting their vengeance at home against Colorado. Both those events occur -106 at DraftKings. Fair follow.
Brad, you wimped out.
Well, you're going to go a third leg, aren't you?
I am, and it's an easy one, and I can't believe you didn't do it. It's such an easy leg to add. Utah in Corvallis to take on the Beavs.
Yeah, that's true.
Brad, if you add Utah to this mix, and I think Utah, I want to say they're favored by 10. Yep. If you add Utah to this mix, this parlay at DraftKings turns into a +170.
Work those shoulders, get seduced by the juice, Lundy. I like it.
How did you not? I cannot believe
because it was honestly, it was a road matchup, And maybe I was being influenced by the fact that Oregon State clobbered Cal. And I know the Cal's the dregs of the cake of the
Cal's
Pac-12.
terrible, dude.
I understand it, but maybe that has injected some renewed confidence
No.
into the, Tinkle club, and they're going to go out there and be highly competitive. I'll have to sweat that thing out. So I didn't add the third leg, probably because my third leg is small.
You're just I thought for sure. Look, folks, the Arizona Oregon, have some fun. Go for it if you want to. I think Oregon State. Here's what I've seen in the last over the course of this season with Oregon State. Every now and then, whoop, they're like, oh, look, we can win. Yay, us. And then they plummet back down to earth. And I think that's what's going to happen against Utah at Gill Coliseum tonight. So I'm gonna tell you to take this two-legger from Brad and add Utah to the mix and get yourself to plus territory. You watch. Oregon State will pull off like all that shit they did to make it to the Elite Eight 3 years ago, and completely make me look stupid. But if it's me, I don't think Wayne Tinkle's bunch found much of anything, Brad. So I would add a third leg to this, and I'd get myself that nice plus odds. It takes 70.
If you want to lift the third leg, add Oregon State, but I'm sticking to just a two-legger. Arizona, Oregon, get the dub, and go out and get yourself a bottle of Suavecito tequila. It is a hashtag Tequila Thursday here on the Fade 5 podcast. Are you not at all familiar with Suavecito? Well, let me give you a little story here. In 2015, Forbes magazine in the NYC contacted 10 tequila experts around the country, one in Cali, Texas, Florida, New York, people who know their tequila, and they asked them one simple question: what is the best tasting tequila sold in these United States of America? And a week later, on the front page of Forbes was a picture of a bottle of Suavecito Añejo. Grab yourself some love juice tonight and throw a betting fiesta on this hashtag Tequila Thursday. Get Suavecito at any Total Wine and More store, or ask for it where you are. We consider it a favor. Gracias.
Number 2.
All right, numero dos here on the Fade 5 podcast. Let's go with the City of Angels, and we got quite a showdown tonight. Must-see appointment television in my mind. USC hosting UCLA, who I have picked to cut down the nets and win the national title this season. But tonight, I think SC is going to give a hell of a game. I am taking the Trojans. Fight on, baby! Plus the 4.5. Minus 110 at BetMGM. Rematch of a game that was played just a couple of weeks ago. And in that contest, USC made it interesting. They were getting punched in the face early on, but they crawled back into it. Only lost by 2 puntos, 60-58 on the road. So at home, I think they could ultimately win this game. If you're looking for, kind of a Hail Mary Chuck here at plus money on the money line, I don't hate it. You look at UCLA, a team that is 5-1 on the road this season. They are top 21 in the nation in offensive and defensive efficiency. However, they are number 10 in the Pac-12 in effective field goal percentage offense. They don't have a lot of depth. So outside of Tiger Campbell and Jaime Jaquez and Jalen Clark, their big three, some of the role players, have their moments at times, but when they get in foul trouble at all, they don't have the bench to really chip away at a lead or really build a big margin potentially here in the end. You look at USC, they are shooting just 31.3% from distance on the season. That's number 227 in college basketball. However, one of the best defensive teams across the country, number 15 in effective field goal percentage defense, inside Pac-12 play. More importantly, because of their length, because of their athleticism, they grab a shitload of second chances, getting an offensive rebound 34.1% of the time. And when they do get hacked, they make their freebies at a 77.1% clip, again, in conference play. So, again, USC is more balanced than you think. And because of that length and athleticism inside, they will hang tough with their arch rival in this game. And I think they're a fine wager on the plus 4.5 at home. So Lundy, fade or follow, USC plus those 4.5 points, minus 110 at BetMGM.
It is time for a good old-fashioned fade on this one. I think UCLA gets back on track. You look at the what they'd won 14 in a row before they lost to the Wildcats, right? Is that what it was? It was a 14 winning streak that was snapped by Arizona. In my opinion, I can point at one stat if I wanted to try to tell the story of why UCLA lost that game, and that is they only shot 20% from outside the arc. On the season, they're second in the Pac-12. They shoot over 35%. In a 6-point game against Arizona, that percentage difference is basically the difference on the scoreboard. By the time it's all said and done, that was basically the difference, in my opinion. They just weren't making it from outside. I think USC, you're right. They're a balanced squad, but I think UCLA gets back on track tonight. They start hitting their threes. I think they get back towards the average that they've had overall this season, which again is better than 35% shooting from outside the arc. I think that's what's going to be the difference, is that UCLA is making them from outside. I think this is going to be damn close.
Yep.
But I think UCLA covers. I will take the Bruins to win it by a half dozen.
How about an early bonus time, Lundy? Maybe this tickles your fancy. How about an SGP of USC plus 9.5? So taking that up 5 points and then reducing the total and taking the over on 123.5. You get that at even money right now at BetMGM plus 100. Does that entice you?
Yeah, that does, because again, I think it's going to be UCLA by a half dozen. I'm giving USC credit for the fact A, they're at home, and B, they're a balanced team. But in general, I mean, Brad, rewind however many episodes it was ago that we did, and I don't freaking, you and I have done 500 and something episodes of this damn
a lot.
podcast, so I don't remember which was which. But there was a pod that you and I did a few weeks ago where you had like your sort of outlier bet that you wanted to make to cut down the nets, and UCLA was your choice.
Yeah, it is.
I recall. Yep. So, I mean, this is a damn good Bruins team, and I just think, like I said, I don't think they played terrible against Arizona. They just weren't making their threes. They were 4 for 20. That's how they finished the game. And they're a better shooting team than that. So I think UCLA wins this one. I think USC can keep it close. I like your idea of taking it up to 9.5 and then playing around with the total. If that takes us to even money, that I can get on board with. I just don't want USC straight up on the regular spread.
In the Cali battle, Lundy and I split down the middle. Go Trojans! He says, go Bruins.
Number 1.
Numero uno. Let's go to a conference I know and love, and that is the Big Ten. And it was stupid last night. I mean, Minnesota had 6 scholarship players, and they damn near knocked off Indiana, scoring the cover there. Another matchup and a bigger one, honestly. I'm going to take the home Michigan Wolverines plus the 5.5 against Zach Edey and the Purdue Boilermakers minus 110 at BetMGM. This is just too big of a number, quite honestly. Yeah, so you look at Purdue, they're number 1 in offensive efficiency, number 2 in defense efficiency in Big Ten play. They're number 15 in the country in assists to field goals made. But the 3-ball is the absolute key. Lawyer, Smith, Newman, they got to make it rain from outside. You know Zach Edey's going to go out and probably get his 25 and 15. Yes, even against Hunter Dickinson, though Dickinson has the girth and the size to body him up. And I'm talking about the full body, not certain parts there. But you look at Michigan, Jett Howard had a big fat Krispy Kreme in the box score the last time out against the Minnesota Golden Gophers, which is highly unusual. He is an electric scorer for this team. Michigan overall, number 3 in adjusted offensive efficiency, and also number 3 in effective field goal percentage offensive Big Ten action, and number 2 in defensive effective field goal percentage. So a team that has the stark balance. Again, everybody's going to talk about Dickinson versus Edey, and they may cancel each other out, honestly, in this game. But it's going to be the ancillary, the auxiliary players in this contest that'll prove to be the difference. Purdue has played a lot of games very close here on the road, finding a way to eke them out in the bitter end by 2 or 3 or maybe 4 points. But Michigan, again, a well-rounded Michigan team catching 5.5 in Ann Arbor. I'm all about that. So give me the Wolverines against PU minus 110 at BetMGM. Lundy, are you with me? Fade or follow?
Purdue can't cover. Period.
Yeah,
I mean,
they can't.
I know. that's the hammer to drop. They're 1-3 against the spread as a road favorite. They're 5-12 against the spread as a favorite overall this season. It's just everything. And I saw you on Twitter the other day talking about, do you follow trends? Do you take things in the moment? I'm a trends guy.
Yep.
Purdue can't cover. They can't. They've been shitty at it all season long. I don't know why all of a sudden I would think that they could pull that off against what's a pretty decent Wolverines team. I mean, this isn't the dregs of the Big Ten here. So yeah, I'm all about Michigan and the points with this one. I think this is probably my favorite play. I'm featuring it on the TV show tonight here on Altitude in Denver. It's one of my picks that I've got for our college basketball segment because I don't think Purdue can cover. I just don't. I haven't seen anything this season that shows me that they sort of rise to the occasion. And we talked about it actually on last night's show. I know you harp on this a lot. When you start getting to stuff where you're trying to impress the committee, you got to cover. Like you need to not only win, you need to win with expectations in the games that you're supposed to. That's how you build a resume. That's how you get the committee's attention. And that can, you might be in and you're going to be in the field, but that stuff starts to affect where you're seated, all of that kind of stuff, because they start looking at it going, well, wait a minute. They went into Michigan and they only won by 2. They went those are the conversation starters when you start dealing with these teams and you start talking about, well, are they a 6 seed or are they an 11 seed? Like you start moving shit around based on these performances. And Purdue has given me nothing so far this season.
Hail to Michigan and hail to bonus time. Lundy, what else you got on this wild and wacky #Tequila Thursday?
I got a couple for you that I'll toss out. I already kind of had the extra bonus time earlier when I told everybody to just go ahead and add Utah into that mix. And I don't always like to do that with heavy road favorites because, to your point, every now and then a home team steps up, but holy crap, Oregon State's bad. So I mean, come on, you talked about them beating Cal. I'm pretty sure my daughter's JV team could that she's on right now at Creek could beat Cal. I mean, they're
she
bad.
would, at minimum, they would cover.
Yeah, it'd be close. I mean, I'd be a little bit concerned about the 3-point shots being blocked. I mean, Cal's got some length, but other than that, it'd at least be competitive. At halftime, the Bears fans would be sweating. I'm just throwing that out there. All right, I got 2 for you on the ice tonight. There's actually some phenomenal matchups tonight in the NHL, but part of that has me lean towards like, hey, wait a minute, I kind of want to see how these games play out. I'm also waiting to see the goaltender assignments in some of them. So check out the spreadsheet, as Brad always harps on at the end of the podcast. Make sure you check our spreadsheets. We'll have some picks up later, but there's 2 that I do like. These are 3 home money line favorites. So this is all they got to do is win. They are heavy favorites, but you get yourself to plus odds. Give me the Wild at home. They're taking on the Flyers. Give me the Abs at home against the Anaheim Ducks, and give me the Calgary Flames. They are at home against the lowly Chicago Blackhawks. If all 3 of those teams win, Minnesota, Colorado, Calgary, plus 124 at DraftKings. Ooh. All they got to do is win, just straight money line. Then in that Colorado game, apparently losing to the Blackhawks was what the defending Stanley Cup champions needed to pull their heads out of their ass, because now all of a sudden they are on a 6-game winning streak. And I think tonight will be 7 because, again, they're taking on the Ducks and Anaheim just isn't very good. So here is an SGP for you. If one of your favorite books is offering you a boost on a hockey SGP, this is one that you could take a look at. It's just the Abs on the money line. That's it. I didn't go crazy with it. I need at least 5 goals to be scored in the game, which should be relatively easy. Hell, the Abs might score 5 by themselves. And then I need one of those goals for Colorado to be Mikko Rantanen, who leads the team right now in scoring. So that's a pretty good, like Mikko by himself for an anytime goal is minus 145. Like, I don't even want to play that on its own. But if I put all 3 of those together, it's plus 125 as a simple SGP in that game. That number jumps, I believe, to around plus 205 if you were to take Colorado on the puck line instead of on the money line. So taking the Avs to win by at least 2 in that one. So a couple of hockey plays you can have some fun with. The other games, I'm going to sit back and wait. Like I said, I need to see who gets assigned between the pipes, but I'll have that up on the spreadsheet for you later this afternoon.
All right, if you want to get greedy, I made a graphic for this. A Team Huevos parlay play of the day. And Huevos Gigantes. I've already mentioned all these prior in the podcast. Michigan State on the money line, Arizona on the money line, and Oregon on the money line. If you use the boost at DraftKings on this, or really you can do it with any parlay, it's plus 263 for that three-legger to hit. So that's something I really like tonight. And I hit the one that I featured on the pod yesterday. So let's make it back-to-back nights. Elsewhere, college basketball, real quick. Give me the over and Pepperdine and San Diego. That number is set at 160.5 at BetMGM. You look at Pepperdine, they've hit the over in 13 of 19 games this season. San Diego has hit the over in 15 of 19. You got two of the fastest teams in the country. Pepperdine, number 13 in adjusted tempo. San Diego, number 101 in that category. Both lousy defensively as well. Pepperdine, number 219 effective field goal percentage defense. San Diego, number 361 out of 363 teams in Division I that category. And both these teams can really shoot the three. And San Diego, too, they're making over 81% of their freebies. So this could come down to the end and what should be a tight contest. And ultimately, those free throws could push the over on the 160.5. Again, when the final buzzer sounds. I also love the Fighting Jackrabbits tonight in a pick'em on the road against St. Thomas. You look at the Fighting Jackrabbits. They have turned their season around in Summit League play. They are 6-2 right now in the conference, and they're doing it with defense, which usually isn't a calling card of this team. Number 2 in the league at effective field goal percentage defense, giving up 48.9% inside the arc and just 30.7% outside of it. Team 2 that's shooting great at the free throw line, nearly 81% as a club, and nearly netting 53% from 2-point distance. St. Thomas, an okay offensive team. They've lost 3 straight games. They're middling right now in conference play. Number 8 in effective field goal percentage offense. Number 9 effective field goal percentage defense. And more importantly, they've already played one another. You might say, oh, well, Brad, the revenge game narrative for St. Thomas, because they lost at San Diego State 71-64. But with the way that the Fighting Jackrabbits are playing, I can't fade them right now. So I think they're going to get the victory in a pick'em matchup on the road against St. Thomas of Minnesota. And then last one, and I'm not going to give any reasons why, but if you stay awake for it, again, maybe text me and I'll see it in the morning. I'll lay the 1 point for Hawaii tonight against UCSB. Though the Gauchos 6-2 on the road this season, Hawaii 10-2 at home. Massive matchup in the Big West Conference that only about 7 of us care about, and I am certainly one of the 7. All right, we are out of time here on the Fade 5 podcast presented by Suavecito. Drop us a rating and a review if you enjoy this program. Also, fade or follow us on the Twitter. Follow Lundy and his free spreadsheet picks at Nate Lundy and my free spreadsheet picks at Noisy Huevos. Until next time, as always, feed or follow, that is up to you.